So on most fires, we have weather instrumentation that we use to monitor weather. Everybody's familiar with the remote automated weather stations. They sit out on the fire line, and we gather information along the fire line and measure stuff here at the surface. But what we really need a lot of times is to know what's going on above the fire and measure, temperature and humidity right above the fire itself to see what may surface on the incident during the afternoon, or what sort of winds that we have up there. So if the winds are overly strong, that sort of thing. How deep this inversion is that we're dealing with this morning, how deep is it, where the dryer is located. So what we typically do is we send up what's called a weather balloon. The balloon itself is made out of latex. We fill it full of helium. There's cotton string that comes down to a parachute, which is then tied to a derailer, which has about 100 feet of string in it, and then the instrument itself. The whole reason we have the 100 feet of string in here is so when we let the balloon go, it will gain altitude quickly, clear these trees and the power lines so that we don't hang it up. The instrument itself has a temperature sensor, a humidity sensor, and of course we track it going downrange to compute the wind speed and direction. It has a battery on the inside of it. There's a transmitter here. We have a receiver here on the table that's tied into the laptop computer to download the information as it goes up in altitude. It gains about 300 meters per second as far as when it gains altitude. So we're talking about, taking about 10, 11 minutes to reach 10,000 feet. On its way up to about 70,000 feet. The balloon itself will gradually get larger and larger, and it'll eventually pop. When it pops, then what happens is, that's why we have the parachute. Parachute will break the fall of the instrument as it comes back to Earth, so that it doesn't zonk somebody on the head and create problems there. So it takes up roughly about an hour and a half for it to make the entire flight, and we'll be tracking it over about the next 90 minutes gathering data. So here we go. We got instrument, we have parachute. All right, let's do a countdown. Start from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you notice, that sonde, or the weather sonde as we call it, is gradually dropping farther and farther below the base of the balloon. That's that 100 feet of string that's unwinding from that derailer. So one of the things we do is we also notify air operations here at the helibase. That way, if we have any air traffic, so forth, that nobody will get involved with that. But it'll get up through the TFR, or the flight space that we're using, in about 10 minutes. So after that, it won't be any cause of concern. Yeah, winds are pretty light today.